Hello, America. This is Call of Duty Goddess. Today is May the 6th, 2016. This is about Michael Emry's arrest by the FBI. I have Vicky Davis and Professor Doom in here to give his take on this warrant. So, Vicky Davis, tell us about what happened to Michael Emry.
Well, this morning sometime, probably around must have been around 11:30 their time, because the last message I got from Michael on my machine was around 10:30 my time. There's an hour difference. But he got a phone call from the office of the place where they're staying, the RV park where they're staying, and they asked Michael to come up to the office, which he did. And when he got up there, there were FBI agents up there and they arrested him. Becky said that they then came down to where she was in the RV, and she said that there were six FBI agents there, and she said they were pointing machine guns at him.
And Becky is Michael Emry's wife.
Yeah, uh-huh. And they made her go outside, while they just started going through the house. And I guess, she's saying, "Where's the warrant? Where's the warrant?" Well, they finally gave it to her. But as I'm looking at it now, it looks like it's just boilerplate. I mean, they've got so much stuff listed on here, and basically what they're interested in are guns and computers, as if he's some kind of cyber criminal or something. And, guns, it's not illegal to own guns, and Michael used to be a gun maker, a gun builder, or I forget what they call it, but
A craftsman, or smith.
well, he wasn't really a smith. I mean, he military weapons and rebuilt them and sent them back out. I forget what they call it. Armorer. He's an armorer. Does
Yeah, I
that make
think
any
that's
sense?
what he said to me. I think he told me he was an armorer.
Good enough for me. I'll roll with it.
Yeah. Which means he takes junk weapons and puts pieces and parts together and gets them back on the road.
So what does the warrant say? Why he's being arrested? Can you read it to us or
Uh,
Yeah.
can I interject 1 second?
sure?
For the listening audience, can we get some foundation of exactly who the guy we're speaking of is? So because there's going to be listeners who may not even recognize the name. So if we can give them some background about how we're speaking of him now, that would be great.
Okay. Michael is the publisher and owner of the Voice of Idaho News, and the website is tvoinews.com. And he just recently started the Voice of Grant County, Oregon.com. And we're alternate media. My name is Vicky Davis, and I'm the main writer, I guess you could say, uh, for TVOI News. And why we're not exactly sure why Michael was arrested, but Michael was the embedded reporter with the Idaho 3%, for the what started out to be the rally in support of the Hammond family in Burns, Oregon. It is absolutely crystal clear that the BLM is waging war on Western ranchers, and because the charges that they uh, put up against him were just an outrage. On the article that I wrote, I called it a travesty of justice, and it truly is. And so, anyway, Michael was the embedded reporter for the 3%, And what he went to Burns to do was to film the rally. Well, the rally went off as planned, and there's video of it if people want to watch it. But after the rally, Ammon Bundy then announced that there were men on their way to the Malheur Refuge to basically, I guess, take the refuge property back from the federal government and return it to the people of Harney County. And so Michael was there a day before the occupation, and he was there through the whole time, until the murder of Lavoy Finicum. It ended with Lavoy Finicum being murdered. And Michael and Becky then decided, they stayed in Burns for a while, and then they decided that they would move over to Grant County. And I don't know if you guys know about what's been happening with Sheriff Palmer, but after Lavoy Finicum's murder, which was a setup job, the 911 operator filed a complaint against Sheriff Palmer. He's a constitutional sheriff. And the complaint was joined by the John Day chief of police. And they called him a, quote, security risk. The reason why they did that was for meeting with Ammon Bundy and Lavoy Finicum. Sheriff Palmer was unaware that they were going to be at that meeting. Sheriff Palmer was just called by some of the people in his county to come meet with him. I don't know if it was a coffee shop meeting or whatever, but Sheriff Palmer was unaware that Ammon Bundy and Lavoy Finicum was going to be there. But anyway, he met with them, and he sat down and talked to him. And because of that meeting, this 911 operator or dispatch manager, whoever the hell she is, and the John Day police filed this complaint. Well, at the time of that meeting, there were no charges against Ammon Bundy or Lavoy Finicum. They were not under surveillance. They had been going around the county, and the sheriff of Harney County, David Ward, he knew where they were at all the time, which the refuge is in Harney County. Hang on, let me turn that off. So there was no reason why Sheriff Palmer shouldn't have met with them, even had he known that they were going to be there, which he didn't. So anyway, that's boy, this is a big, long, complicated story, isn't it?
Right. So anyway, what happened was, wasn't Michael Emry, they were living near Harney County, or they were living in Harney County, weren't they? And then they
Yeah,
recently moved to Grant County, right?
right, right. They moved over to Grant County, and they were working with people over there to set up a committee of correspondence. And the committee of correspondence, I guess historically, that's how people in the colonies communicated with each other. And the problem that we have with the mainstream media, as you all know, is that it's not so much what they tell us, it's what they don't tell us. And so we need to know what the truth of things are. And so what Michael was trying to do was to establish a committee, so that people in the county basically became their own reporters, their own so that they could inform each other of what the true story is, because there's a lot of things going on with our county governments that just really are not reported in the mainstream media.
Right, and from what he told me with the committee of correspondence, the committee itself would then vet the story, and
Yeah.
then it would, and he wanted it to spread throughout the whole country, you know, to take back the narrative, and he had told me, in fact, that it was important to do this. He said the committee of safety is very important, but he said the committee of correspondence should come before the committee of safety, and the way he explained it to me, it's very important that we understand the news and what's going on. So now, at shortly now, how long ago was this? That didn't he set up a meeting recently about this committee of correspondence?
Yes, he's been meeting with these people regularly, and just trying to get things organized. Like, one lady that he has on the team, she goes to the county commissioner meetings, and she writes reports. The reporting on the what the county court is doing. And we have a couple of reports on the Voice of Grant County, Oregon, um, where she's telling her fellow citizens what happened at the county. Um, and there are, some other reports, things of interest to people in the community that are not really being covered by what I suppose you would call the mainstream media, which is the Blue Mountain Eagle. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I think they're basically owned by the Oregon Live. And shoot, sorry, I don't. Um,
Okay, so now we have all of the sudden the FBI doing this with Michael Emry. So there was a warrant given. So what is listed on the warrant?
um, well, they wanted to search the RV. Um, and let me bring these things up. Uh, and all computer equipment. I mean, they have pictures of the vehicles. And let's see what it says. The items to be searched for and seized and examined are those items in the trailer and the vehicles described in the attached A that contain evidence, contraband, fruits, and instrumentalities of violations of 26 USC 5861D, 5861E, and 5861F as follows. And then it lists physical evidence, firearms, photographs, receipts, memoranda, calendar, logbooks, appointment books. Let's see, the financial documents, mortgages, leases, bills, records. I mean, this is just a massive fishing trip.
So does it list why?
No, no, it does not say why. If it says why on here, I haven't seen it yet.
Doom,
Um,
what's your take on this?
Well, for one thing, I'd like to see what whenever a detective or police officer or whatever law enforcement agency or whatever, they usually submit a request to the judge to sign off on a search warrant, and they give him, God, this guy won't stop.
I know.
They won't that Yeah, they will give a reason for the judge to grant this search warrant. Like, let's say that we have probable cause that such and such an individual has been selling freaking copyrighted this, whatever, and the judge will review the just a little bit of whatever they're telling him, and then they'll sign off and tell him exactly what they're going to need in the search, whether it's going to be electronic items that could store whatever materials, information. That's what they'll be looking for. Now, I'm interested to know if there's anything listed on there as to what their probable cause was to seek out a search warrant to begin with.
That's my
No.
question.
Yeah, no, I don't see anything on here that lists probable cause, and that's, I mean, that's been my understanding my whole life, is that they list probable cause on the search warrant, but, they don't seem to be too respectful of law these days.
Okay, does it lists the judge's name, right? Because he has to sign it. That's a given.
Yes, it's Thomas M. Coffin. How do you like that?
Oh, great.
I swear I'm gonna make a web page of all these names that are fit the job, because there's just too many of them that are too perfect for it to be coincidental.
Right.
Okay, anyway, Thomas M. Coffin, United States Magistrate Judge.
Okay, so now we know for sure it was a federal agency that sought out this search warrant from the judge. I would be starting to demand to see what legal standing or what precipitated this whole thing to begin with. Was it they suspected he was involved with militia activities, or I don't know. I don't know the whole picture here.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one, because Michael was never involved in the occupation. I mean, he was there as media.
Right.
And
I,
yeah, go ahead.
no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these guys had done anything wrong. Period. It is the FBI that are claiming that the individuals that were there were committing illegal activities. That's not my stance, but anyway, I just wanted to clarify that for the record. Has there been any word about a possible a bail or a bond for him to be able to get out, or has there been any kind of preliminary amount set?
No, that just happened today. Becky was told that he was being taken to Eugene.
Right.
But that on Monday he would be taken to Deschutes.
Right.
So I was going to drive over there on Sunday and go with Becky to Deschutes and see what we can find out. See what the charges are, if there's bail, or what's going on.
No. Okay. Let me ask you this, and if you want to be honest with it, or maybe you don't know. I don't know the case here, but do you think that there is anything at all that the FBI may see or construe in any of his material that he released as a journalist that may indicate that he was not in a journalistic you know what I'm saying? In a capacity of a journalist?
Yeah, I don't think there was. I mean, he was always interviewing with people, and he talked to everybody. But Michael doesn't really write stories. I'm the person that writes.
Sure.
So Um, but he was there in the capacity of a reporter and not a participant.
Right.
So
Yeah. See, if I just give you an example of what the FBI is saying about, like, let's take Pete Santilli, for instance, and they're saying that he was, wearing different kind of clothing than what a, journalist, fatigues and, goalkeepers this or that. And that's what they're trying to use against him. I don't know what this guy was wearing that we're talking about here. I don't know exactly what he may have said live on a camera or anything. So I'm just wondering what it is that they claim to have to seek out a search warrant against him. It's got to be. It's got to be something. It just can't be that because he was holding a camera in front of his eye. What is it? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, except that I think that they're trying to sweep up everybody who was at the Bundy Ranch, as well as the Malheur.
Okay, we might be able to find this answer. Vicky, can you read those codes off to us again?
Okay, 26 USC 58. 5861E and 5861F.
Okay, wait a minute. Could you read that back to me one more time, please?
Uh-huh.
26 UC.
26 USC 5861D is in David.
Right, subsection D. Okay.
E is in Edward, and F is in Fox.
Okay, so that is, got it. Okay, E and F. Hold on 1 second.
All right, this is a race. Whoever gets it first.
Okay, I could tell you exactly. Let's see. Well, prohibited acts current through a transfer to transfer a firearm in violation of the provisions of this chapter. Selected firearms offenses. That's what 26 USC 5861 has to do with. Now, of course, those little subsections in that section, D, E, and F. It's probably going to be different parameters. Let's see what we're talking about. To engage in the business as a manufacturer or importer of or dealer in firearms without having paid the special tax required by Section 5801 for his business or having registered as required by 5802 section. To receive or possess a firearm transferred to him in violation of the provisions of this chapter. That's A and B. Okay, so now we know that all of this has to do with firearms. Let's go to D, E, and F. To receive or possess a firearm which is not registered to him in the National Firearms Registration and Transfer Record. Well, first off, if that is a weapon that they have seized in the search warrant, well, they can't very well. How are they going to charge him with that? That's kind of like fruits of a poisonous tree, don't you think? To transfer a firearm in a violation of the provisions of this chapter, or to make a firearm in violations of the provisions of this chapter. That's what they are claiming with that.
Well, he wasn't doing any of that. I mean, he used to do that for a living, but that was, I think he was in the military when he did that.
Okay.
But when he was working on guns in Boise, he was working for, as an employee, he was working for a licensed dealer. So I mean, this is totally bogus. That this is not what Michael was doing.
Huh. Now, okay, so you got the search warrant there, right?
Yeah.
And this was just conducted today, so there's not going to be any itemized list of items that were seized. See, there's a list that's going to tell. There's going to be a list that tells them what they can seize, and then there will be a list that they are going to make up that is going to say what they seized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they did give Becky a copy of what they seized, but she said it's not legible. It's probably a carbon copy that,
Yeah.
But she said they basically just took everything.
Now, Becky, is there a chance that maybe we could get a chance to talk to her sometime? Do you think?
Yeah, we can talk about that off
Okay. Oh, sure.
here.
Okay. My apologies.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm probably your best bet to talk to.
Well, the reason why I ask is because she living there in that same house would be the closest thing that we could get to possibly knowing what it was that was seized. That would give us an idea of what exactly that they might be looking for.
Uh-huh.
You know, is it weapons? Was they checking to see if he had weapons? How about his records, his business records? What
Oh,
was
they
it?
took everything. She said they took everything. Yeah, I know she'll talk to you off air,
Right.
but she's kind of shy. So,
There's supposed to be certain restrictions when it comes to these search warrants. You're supposed to make them as narrow as you know what I mean, as you can, right? And only broad as necessary. I cannot see with the position that, or the journalistic position that he was taking in this whole situation, that would require them to have such a broad search warrant as to take everything. Everything.
this search warrant, I can tell you right now, this search warrant is boilerplate. There's absolutely no question about it.
Right.
The only thing that's tailored in here to Michael, that is specific to Michael, was the RV and the trucks, the vehicles. Aside from that, absolutely everything else, everything having to do with firearms and computers and bank records and all of that stuff, this is absolutely boilerplate.
Well, if you ask me, and this can get pretty hairy right here, that they are making an attempt to chill journalists in reporting. And I mean strictly like alternative, you know, or some of the other not so big mainstream media, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's people are going to be scared to even go to report on a story because if you do, well, guess what? You know, you're going to find yourself in jail for absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I heard rumors probably about a month and a half ago, that they were arresting people in rounds. You
Right.
know, they went for the ones they wanted most, the first, and you in series. So I guess you could say Michael is part of the third wave. And what concerns me is, am I going to be in the fourth wave? Because I'm the one that writes for TVOI.
Right.
So,
Right.
and if they do that, then every single alternative media person in this country better leave the country, because I'm your proverbial little old lady that goes and plays cards at the senior center. That's my main activity, besides writing and working on the computer. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
remember
going to
what I was
stop.
telling you earlier, Teresa?
Huh?
Do you remember what I was telling you earlier, Teresa?
What?
I said we are what?
We're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the word I used.
Yeah, you didn't put it so nicely though, did you?
No. Man.
But you know what? I'm cool with being screwed. I'm I'm good with it because I'm still not going to stop, and I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not out to hurt or harm anyone. I just want the truth, just like all of us
yeah,
do.
yeah. Well, there was nothing that Michael was doing that is relevant to what these charges are. Now, Michael does talk about his past as, working on guns. He knows a lot about guns. He loves guns. But he doesn't do that anymore. And he hasn't done that, you know, um, for the 3 years that I've known him. As a matter of fact, the guns that he did have, he's had to sell in order to keep TVOI News going. So,
Right.
Hmm.
he really just has, his basic own protection is all.
We have the search warrant. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of complaint coming up from the prosecution, the U.S. State's Attorney, and we want to see exactly in writing what it is that they claim that he did. And that's what we'll see in the complaint there is that on such and such a day, defendant so and so walked into the brewery and stole a beer. Well, that's exactly what we want to see, what they are saying that he did.
Uh-huh. Um, yeah, when I get we probably won't be able to get the complaint, I guess.
Well, yeah, go
I,
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
I think I'll have to talk to Becky, but I don't see any reason why we can't post this search warrant. I mean, there's really nothing personal in it. It's all just standard um,
Well,
boilerplate. That's all I can say. It's just
don't, don't don't take this as any kind of disrespect whatsoever. The criminal complaint is actually going to be public record unless, of course, there's any kind of order by the judge, some kind of gag order or something like that. If barring that, it's going to be public record. And the whole thing is that to be able to understand and maybe even work this out as a defense for him, I think that it would be most important, even more important than the search warrant itself, to see what the complaint is. Now, if there's something that maybe perhaps doesn't want to be seen, I can't see any reason why that would the complaint would be an issue.
yeah. No, I don't either. Um,
Maybe you could post it on TVOI News and Voice of Grant County and possibly your website too.
yeah.
The thing is with that criminal complaint and with going along with this interview that we're doing right here, we could actually turn and say, look, we talked about this here. Here is the criminal complaint. And as you can see, they are attacking journalists. You guys are next unless you see the picture now. See it now. Because if not, we're going to find ourselves back with what did they say back in Nazi Germany? Well, they came for the artist, but I wasn't an artist, so I didn't say anything. It's going to play out like that once again right here. People are just going to watch these journalists and other people get shipped off to wherever. And then guess what? Maybe 5 years, 10 years, who knows how many years it's going to be. And then it's going to be another round of individuals and then another round.
Yep.
We could forgo all that by just making a stand in the beginning and not the end.
Well, everybody in alternate media should be quaking in their boots at this, because Michael was doing absolutely nothing to to justify this search and for them to arrest him. He was doing absolutely nothing with guns, nothing. He's just trying to get settled in Grant County and trying to set up a media operation. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I only ask all this because I really would like to help and offer up maybe some, do a story on it so I can show everybody exactly what they can expect, what exactly how he's being, pretty much strong armed. I can't believe what these fools are getting away with. It's just ludicrous.
Yep.
Well, the administrative state in this country is totally out of control. They really don't even answer to Congress. It's like they have become truly a fourth branch of government accountability at all.
Yeah.
I've actually written quite a lot about the administrative state, and this country is in big trouble if people don't become aware of it and demand that the reins be pulled in on the administrative state.
Well, they need to first realize that we're under occupation. Our country is
Right.
not being run by who we think it's being run by. We are under occupation, plain and simple.
Right.
Yep.
And I have written that, so no, with no punches pulled. I mean, I have been trying to get people to pay attention to both the systems of government, because our form of government was changed with the redesign of the computer systems of government. And I honestly believe that there was an intentional coup d'etat. I mean, it was intentional what they did to our government, and that it was a coup d'etat on our government when they did it. And I've been writing about that, trying to get people to pay attention to it, because all of this political stuff, you know, everything, all of this political puppet show, it really means nothing.
That's right.
Our real government is the agencies of government and the administrative layer of government. They're the ones that are controlling everything.
There are big name corporations out there that call the shots.
Hmm.
They select their individual who's going to be their little puppet in the White House. Nothing more. All this little circus show that they're showing you with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, this has already been decided long ago.
Right.
Yeah, the Trump card.
Yeah, yeah.
Another one of those names.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a matter of fact, there was a very interesting interview on C-SPAN this weekend. It was with Steve Case, the CEO of AOL,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and he's part of the crew that was I would say was part of the coup d'état, along with John Chambers of Cisco. It basically was a tech coup d'état. See, people that are not involved in systems, they don't understand the power of systems. I mean, they can quote for you the proverbial, you know, information is power. Well,
Sorry.
information comes from systems, and it's really the systems that are the control. And the United States is being turned into a technocratic police state. Hence my website, The Technocratic Tyranny.
When I look at this whole thing going on as a whole and the past here,
Mhm.
would you agree that with the debt that is owed, with the countries that it's owed to, and with the only thing left to pay off that debt, if it were to ever be anywhere close to being repaid, would have to be minerals and land? Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, it would, because they blew out the currency system.
Sure.
Our monetary system was blown totally to hell with the dot-com boom. I've got a recording of Treasury Secretary John Snow saying, how could this economy suffer a $7 trillion hit and still be operating? Well, it couldn't. You know, he was trying to, you know, put a happy face on everything, but the fact is it couldn't. Our whole country wasn't worth $7 trillion. But what was happening on Wall Street was that they were hiding securities. They were trading them at a fraction of a second, and then taking 3 days to clear that trade. Well, they traded them millions of times in those 3 days. You could never straighten out that mess, never. So they blew out our financial system. And so what many of us think, including, I don't know, do you know Patrick
Patrick who?
Patrick Woods? He wrote a book called Technocracy Rising.
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay. Well, back in the 1920s, there was a plan to change the basis of our economic system away from being one based on commodities and production to one based on energy. And this was an engineer's plan and I really can't explain it to you very well, but basically it was to set valuation based on the input of energy towards the production of something, so that rather than having a gold-backed currency, you would have a measurement of the amount of energy that went in to produce something. Anyway, with the whole global climate change and carbon credit trading system and so forth, he believes, and I believe also, that what the banksters are trying to do is to change the the economic basis of the trading commodities that we call money, to be based on carbon in a similar way that the group called Technocracy, wanted to do.
Pardon me one second. Technocracy, is that the name of this group from back in the 1920s?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
It was an actual group. And if you go to oh jeez, I'm sorry.
It's so quite all right.
Okay, there. Yeah, there was an actual group. They were called Technocracy Incorporated. They were pretty militaristic. And I have a newsletter from Patrick. He's got a website that has all a lot of information about technocracy and the book that he wrote. Man, people are... Okay, and I'll get that for you now.
So I need to interrupt here. Just a second. Becky just posted this 46 minutes ago. FBI took my husband Michael on a ruse this morning. They showed up at our fifth wheel at the John Day Fairgrounds RV park with Michael gone. On a phone call from the John Day Fairgrounds on a lie, and me left at our fifth wheel alone with our dogs 4 minutes after Michael left for the office. At their request, 8 agents showed up in full tactical, screaming at me in my bathrobe to put your hands up. They took Michael's computer, our full password list, websites, email, Facebook, both our address books, Michael's phone, which they added he would not be getting back, kicked our dogs, tore 3 doors off the hinges, destroyed our house, everything was thrown on the floor, and to top it off, our flyer for Committee of Correspondence was found on my bathroom floor, crumpled up. I was handcuffed for 3 hours in the cold morning hours in my robe after I responded to a snide and rude little punk-ass FBI agent. We are at tvoinews.com, TVOI News on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, I
So,
just popped you that link for Technocracy News.
thank you, thank you. So basically, this is this was to squelch any kind of progress made by this group, this
Committee of Correspondence.
committee of correspondence, right?
Yes.
Was there any other individuals in this committee that have been taken into custody yet?
Not to my knowledge.
What was there any kind of paperwork or paper trail of any kind that was generated by this committee that you think that the FBI would be attempting to get their hands on, maybe, perhaps?
I kind of, if there was any paperwork generated, I didn't know about it. Um, I don't think they were that organized yet.
Okay, good. All right.
And Michael was really just as an advisory capacity. He was trying to get them to understand the importance of a common understanding of all of the problems that we face. You see, a big part of our problem is that we no longer have a common understanding of anything. You know, one media outfit will talk about something in one way, and then another one will talk about it in another way, but neither one of them will tell the people the important details, what they should know in order to know what is the proper, what is the correct way to go on any given issue.
Sure. Well, the biggest problem I can see is that we allowed ourselves to where we find ourselves in this position. All those years with no active, no acts, nowhere, and it's frustrating that there's going to be no winning this. You know what I mean? They're going to come for people little bit at a time, and everybody else, they don't care. They don't care what's coming.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
going to stop.
I can't stop. I just can't, because the future that I see for the people of this country is so grim that I can't stop.
Me neither.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you scared, Doom? You going to stop?
Hell no. No, I'm not saying about stopping. It's the thing is you know what? Let me just explain to you out of experience here. When you go to do battle on a prison yard, and you see some of the other guys who are of the same race as you, and you know you're about ready to go into battle with, let's say, the black race or the Mexican race, and if you see any of those other guys just standing there not getting involved, well, they're going to be dealt with after all said and done, right?
Right.
The thing is that those guys knew better not to leave these other guys hanging. And these other people just do not care about their fellow man. They're so I can't even think of a word to use right now. I'm so pissed off. But they just go about their lives just as they've been trained to do. You know, got their little texting device in their hand, maybe smack into a road sign, and oh dang, I wasn't looking where I was going. Well, you better start looking where you're going, because it's exactly where we're headed. And well, if you can't see where we're headed, then oh boy, you know, it's you're right, grim. That's a light word.
Yeah. It's the
You know,
the least frightening word that I can think of, but it's like I woke up one day in a different country. You know, I didn't I don't know who these people are that are in our country. It is not the country I thought it was, and people are not the way that I thought they were. You know, I don't know. I guess I grew up watching westerns, you know, where The people rally behind the good guy.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah, there was once upon a time when people could, walk down the street without having to worry about, a drive-by shooting, or could leave their front doors unlocked because, well, no one would walk into anybody's house. And time, those type of times have changed now. Everybody's weary of everybody. Everybody has an angle about something. You come up to me and ask me for something. Okay, all right, what do you want? All right, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? It's nobody's friendly towards anybody anymore.
Yeah.
It's and they don't see why they have to risk themselves to aid somebody else in some kind of fight that it concerns them too.
Mhm.
They're not seeing the bigger picture here. That's
Well, I'm wondering if the reason why is because our economy has been so hammered that uh, people are struggling, and when you're struggling, when you struggle, um, it's kind of like it becomes like every man for himself. I'm uh, just barely making it on my own, and you take care of yours, and but it's also a lot of people are trying to get over on other people too, so you have to be on guard all the time.
wouldn't it be just outright disgusting if everybody knew that you're these like IRS and all of these people were really just fleecing the American people for years, knowing what was coming, and you've paid all of those taxes, all that Social Security, and they had the intent of ramming you really good at the end.
Hmm.
And it's those people don't even see any of that. They're just like, well, they're happy to pay their taxes. Well, I got to pay my taxes. I've got to do that.
Uh-huh.
What if everybody just stopped paying, stopped going to work, didn't buy gas, didn't go to the store? Of course, they'd have to feed their kids. You see all the things. They will not even get involved in any kind of efforts or activism to make any kind of change because it would affect their normal everyday life.
Well, you
But
know what? It seems to me that how that shows you how powerful the media is.
right,
If you think back and you think about the Republicans, when any of the Republican leaders use the word abortion, the Republican, the religious right, sits up and starts barking like dogs. And the same thing on the left. If they mention something happening to somebody black, the whole starts barking like dogs. The point is that the media are the what do you call the guy that sits in front of the orchestra, the
yeah,
you know
choir director,
the maestro, the
maestro.
maestro. Yeah. The media is the maestro. And if you have dishonest media like we do, if you have Pravda like we do, then the people have been conditioned, they've been trained to stay out of it because they don't want to be called a conspiracy theorist. They don't want to have any bad things happen to their family like they've seen happen to other families. It's like everybody is in duck and cover mode.
Well, I mean, you take what you just said about the media, Vicky, add it in with the total indoctrination that kids receive, including me, in school, and add that with the indoctrination in the colleges. Well, I have a different outlook on this. I think that there are many people awakened when you think about the indoctrination added on top of that with the mainstream media. There are a lot of people awake. And that's why I won't shut up until I wake people up, because you can wake them up, but it's very difficult when you have that indoctrination, that 12 years of indoctrination under everyone's belt that the federal government has done to us. thinking that freaking Betsy Ross made the flag, thinking that Christopher Columbus discovered the United States of America. What we're taught in school is a lie. And it starts with that, and then it goes to the media. And because of that, people won't wake up. It's by design. It's by design. And that's my take on that. So,
I couldn't agree more. It
Yeah.
very definitely is intentional. And the people that have studied groupthink, the Fabian socialists and the Frankfurt School and all those people, they really do understand the psychology of people, and they really do know how to manipulate people. And it's absolutely evil, I think.
absolutely. And that's what's being used.
You-
Now they're trying to take over the alternative media. Hell, they have all of the mainstream media, and now they are really socking it to the alternative media to shut us up because this is where everyone's going. They're turning off their TVs. They're starting to see the truth, and they have to shut us up. They have to.
Well, I think there's a little bit more to that whole, the experiments and all of the group things that they were doing. Like you walk into an elevator and you see like all the people turned around the opposite direction. What do? Do you walk in and do the same thing they do, or do you go with what you normally know? Well, I think what it is they're actually showing us that that's what people's natural response is to something like that. It's not something that they pushed upon them. They're just proving a point. But I think the thing you should take away from this is there are people out there that if you have strong enough people and strong enough skills that you can train all those other people that were doing that it's wrong to do that. You shouldn't just be doing that because all of these other people are doing it. Be individuals. You all are now doing it because you've seen 3 or 4 or 5 turn the opposite direction. So that's the mindset of a human being. It's not something that they forced upon them. And I think we actually could learn a lot from that and use it to our benefit rather than, you know what I mean?
I agree.
What they were trying to do with.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know. Maybe that is what we're actually trying to do. Well, actually, no. I do try to get people to think. I don't write the same as most I don't even call myself a journalist. I was a computer systems analyst, and so I I document what I find, and I write, and people have to think when they read what I write. And that's really what I would like people to do. The mainstream media tries to dumb things down so much so that you don't even get an understanding of an issue, because they write it at such a high level. You can't you don't get enough information to make any real decisions about anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, if yeah, this whole situation really is very, very serious. And if anybody looks at Michael or me, or yeah, we're not polished. Alex Jones has his InfoWars, and he's got his polished operation. Well, we don't have that out here. Michael's not polished. I'm not polished. But we're all trying to do the same thing,
Right.
And
And what you're doing, what we're all doing, is we're not making money like the media does on Fox News or whatever. I don't make anything.
I don't either. I do everything I do, everything I have done for all the time that I've been researching has been my own money, meager as it is. Nobody's ever paid me anything.
Right. And
And
that's not saying anything bad about people who can make money, because one day I'm going to need to make money off of this. I'm not going to have my business forever. I'm hoping to not have it forever, you know, cuz I'm tired of it. But I mean, really, we're doing this because we see what's going coming down the pike for our country. And that's why I do it all the time. I'm sure that's why you started doing it, isn't it, Doom?
I, I started doing it because I have missed a lot of time out of my life and my kids' life to spend time with them. And I'm actually doing it again right here by spending so much time on this computer trying to get a message across to people that I'm speaking to and friends with, is that there's going to come a time when you're going to have to, you know what, defend for your kids. You're going to have to fight for them. You know what I mean? It's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm getting so screwed here that I've been given a second chance, gotten out. I can spend all this time with my kids, my grandkids, and now basically they're saying, "Well, too bad, sucker. We're taking your whole thing away from you anyway." And it's like, wow. I'm not one to go for all that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it may come down to a point to where they will want to define what standard issue journalism is, and have a license to write, and that sort of thing, to make sure that they can filter out people that are inclined to tell the truth about anything. And this may be the start of that.
Well, I tell you this, if they find some reason to find this necessary to do something like this, that ought to be your hint right there that they don't want the truth getting out. You know what I mean? They don't want truth ever to be reported. And it hasn't been reported by mainstream media for forever and a day, right? But look what they're doing to the alternative news here, because that's the one really that they're trying to, you know what I mean, take out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, they
It's
were
I've never,
hammering you for like, wow. You were getting
yeah,
hammered.
yep. So really, basically, if you have a voice and you appear like you may be getting to some people, or even just a few, they want you removed. They want, they don't want people to be some kind of opposition or a problem child to them later on. You know what I mean? Well,
Mm-hmm.
this guy right here was a perfect sheep in front of his TV screen. Now he's over here talking about "Viva la Revolution." You know what I mean? It's like, hey, that's on. That's the kind of stuff that they don't want.
The corruption that's been going on in Harney County and in Grant County, um, you can hide that kind of corruption in a state like California, or Illinois or New York or Florida. But when you get out into the rural communities, and you're screwing your neighbor, everybody knows it. And so having the people in Grant County and Harney County wake up and start talking, I'm sure that there were a lot of people that are quaking in their boots because of it.
There was a schism right there between the community. It was like um, people were saying, "Hey, there's a real issue here," while others were like, "You know what? Hey, Steve Grassie's a good guy," and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are we really looking at the same evidence here? Because it is clear to me that this guy has been working hand in hand with these quasi-governmental agencies to pull the lands right out from under your feet, and you guys aren't even seeing it.
Well, they're getting money not to see it. I mean, they're in on they are replacing real economic activity, which in those Oregon counties it was lumber, and I don't know if there was mining or not, but basically ranching, all of the commodity producing uh, activities. The people that are behind the BLM, they're all cozy in the replacement jobs, which are basically jobs that are social creations. That's what's happening to our economy, is that they've killed our real economy, and the government is now creating social jobs. And it's the people that are on the payroll for a social job, or that get a contract at a nonprofit for a social job, and the people who are in these selected businesses, they're all just, happy as pigs and you know what. Um, but it's the people that have been excluded from those connections, that are barely scraping along, that are saying, hey, we need to make a living here. We need to either have a cattle ranch, or we need to lumber. We've got to have some way to make a living. So that's what the division is.
Well, if what we've seen with Lavoy Finicum's issues, that with the Fish and Wildlife and the BLM, you had all of the ranchers in Nevada before Clive and Bundy that were pretty much dispossessed, and now you have the latest. What is it? Grant County and the Malheur, or no, Owyhee, is that how you pronounce it? Monument that they want to build?
Is it Owyhee? Owyehe?
EE.
Yeah,
Yes.
Owyhee.
Right. That would put 300 to 400 ranchers basically out of their livelihood. If you do that, you are essentially starving out a whole industry. Ranchers, cattle. It's being done for a purpose.
Yeah, and that is exactly their intent. They don't want people to produce anything. Only selected businesses. Like one of the ranches there, I think it might be Sylvie's, but I'm not sure. One of the ranches is going to be turned into a show place. You know, basically like a dude cattle ranch or something. But these people that have this economic plan for the United States, they're absolutely out of their minds. They are psychopaths. And I've thought for a long time, I wrote something called The Ghost of Morgenthau Haunts Our House. And after World War II, there was a bankster named Morgenthau. And he came up with the economic plan for Nazi Germany after World War II. And basically, it was to eliminate all production from Germany except agriculture. They could grow food, but they wanted to turn it into a pastoral state so that Germany could never rise again. And I swear to God, that is what they're doing to this country. They've moved all of our industry, or they're in the process of removing it. They're getting people out of productive jobs and placing them in social jobs. And there is no security in a social job. You work at the pleasure of somebody. And so basically it will turn us all into slaves as they progress with this economic plan that they have.
I don't know how much of a plan it could be if you considering that you owe. Well, we don't. I never signed on to any of this debt, but I'm just saying there's going to be somebody wanting to cash in on this huge marker. And I don't see how there could be any kind of economic plan that could sustain us here and pay off anything like that.
So well, they're selling our country out from under us.
Sure. We're so screwed.
Yeah, we're done, aren't we?
Yeah, stick a fork in me.
And
yes, ma'am.
How can I freaking laugh about this? I always do, because either that or I cry, and I do cry.
Well, it's so I mean, what can you do? I mean, I work on this every day, and yeah, I sometimes it makes me laugh. I have to do that, so I don't go insane. I could, go postal, I guess, but that wouldn't accomplish anything. So,
Right. I was like, remember when we were looking at the what was that mural that the Rockefeller had
oh,
painted?
Rock, yeah, Rockefeller's mural.
Oh,
Oh
oh,
God.
you're talking about the unicorn, the tapestry?
No, 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 no. The
Oh,
one he had originally done, and they, by popular demand, he had to have it taken down. He had, and boy, that is something else. We were looking at that one day, and we were just looking at how it was so, what, apocalyptic. And we were laughing just in hysterics, weren't we? I mean,
Yeah,
wow.
but it really is a freaky mural. It's like the murals at Denver Airport,
yeah,
you know.
but it was done in
All
the 30s.
I don't
Yeah,
believe it. I'm
we
familiar with
should
this.
call those people the Rocka freaks, not the Rockefellers, because they really are freaks.
Oh, I'll send it to you, Doom. We could do, because we were talking about that, because while we were examining it, I mean, we were saying, oh my gosh, we could do like a 3 hour show just on this mural. Oh my, it's showing what's happening today, and oh, oh, just amazing.
Is that the one where they had miners, military,
Yeah,
and other?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Oh, all
I
right.
think a Spanish guy did it for
Yes.
him. Yeah.
I do have to be going, and it was a pleasure getting to talk to you. I thank you very much for allowing me this time with you. Um, if you would keep Teresa updated, and she can relay it to me, and I want to see how this is going to progress. Hopefully, it doesn't, but no.
Will do. I'll um, be posting everything on TBOI, and I'm connected with Teresa on Skype. So
Great, good.
All right.
anyway, thank you for spending the time to talk to me about it. And
No,
you know,
it was my pleasure.
Thanks, Doom, and thank you, Vicky. I
okay, thank you
Okay.
guys.